Grab a beer and pull up a chair. Welcome to the Northwoods Beer Guy podcast. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Northwoods Beer Guy podcast. This is the Northwoods Beer Guy, and once again, I am with Jim.
Hey, everybody. How you doing, Mike?
Doing good, man. How about yourself?
Another day in paradise.
That's good, man. Hey, so just so people know, I'm sure you remember that we had talked that I was in the process of moving, and so we've had to move our studio to Jim's house for the time being. So nice. I appreciate that, Jim, for allowing us to take over your basement here.
Anytime, buddy.
Just to keep this thing going.
Well, we might even put a picture up there on the site there for you, so everybody can just take a look
to see the horrible conditions that we're dealing with down here.
Yes,
I agree. That's a good thing to do. So this week, what we planned on doing, because it is, right in the heart of kind of the Oktoberfest.
It sure is. Season.
Yeah, I was going to say, you got the big one in Munich going. Around us, the lacrosse one starts, or has basically started a couple days ago, or yesterday, I guess. And, then everywhere you go, there's around this first week of October, the end of September, first part of October, a lot of these festivals kind of get kicked off. And I know, we'll be kind of visiting a couple of them, as well, just to have a good time, so we thought what better way to start that again. I know we'd already done one just kind of recently, but Jim was, once again busy the last couple of weeks, and he found some more Oktoberfest that we have not tried. So, Jim, just give me, kind of the rundown on what you're thinking, and the ones that you found look really interesting. Is there any of them that are really kind of you're looking forward to? Or?
Well, I think what's interesting, I think you got a good picture of the bottles and cans, but they all look very fall-like. Which kudos to all the brewers, because none of them look the same, but all of them are very intriguing. And we do have one special one here that's actually from Germany.
Yes.
And, that I think that, if I'm not mistaken, I could be corrected, but I think the largest Oktoberfest goes on in Munich, Germany.
Correct. And we should probably do that one last.
Oh.
Do you think, just to compare an actual German Oktoberfest to the American versions? I know that these other breweries, they do follow that same kind of recipe, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it's like we talked about before, there's a lot of difference in flavor. It seems like even more so than other styles to me. So it'll be interesting to compare that to an actual kind of a if you want to call it an official German Oktoberfest.
Well, and the other thing that might be good or bad for us, two of them spelled Oktoberfest different. So the one from Mobcraft actually has Mobtoberfest. And then the one from Ale Asylum is Oktillion Oktoberfest.
So kind of put their own little spin on it.
And then we've got this, one of the last ones, Staghorn Oktoberfest from New Glarus. So, I think that's interesting. They're trying to make their own little niche, even though most of the Marzahns are a little lower in ABV, and they're not overly flavorful. I know we always like to have a little more flavor, but I think this will be a good cross-section of Marzahn style for us to just, we're going to be able to let everybody, all the listeners out there know which ones are probably the best ones to go for, or ones they may want to push off to the side.
I agree, because like I said, there's been so many different Oktoberfests out there. Sometimes people can get a little bit, blown away, so to speak, by, well, which one's the best one and which one is this or which one's that. And again, it comes down to personal preference on all of it. But I do think that we'll be able to give them a little bit of a, hey, here's our opinion.
Right.
And it should be interesting to see how they compare. And like I said, again, I'm really excited to see how the American version compares to an actual German one. So
yeah, are you ready?
Yeah. So I guess the first one, we might as well get right into it.
Yeah, let's kick her off.
That we have is by Odell. Odell Brewing, and this is their Oktoberfest Marzahn style lager. Let's see, brewed with traditional Munich malts and herbal noble hops. Our Oktoberfest is a celebration of autumn in Colorado. That's what's on the can.
Nice.
Now on their website, again, Jim does a lot of research for me, and so we have something to because sometimes the can doesn't really give a very good description. So on there, it said that there's plenty to celebrate when fall arrives in Colorado. The warm days grow shorter, the cool shadows grow longer, and the aspens put on their golden grand finale. Brewed with biscuity sweet Munich malts and spicy herbal noble hops, our Oktoberfest is a reminder to stop and enjoy the show.
Oh,
that's pretty interesting.
That's good.
Now, let's see Odell was founded in 1989. I guess I knew they'd been around for a while, but I didn't realize that's a long brewery. That's kind of a longer time.
Right, for sure.
That's pretty cool. And it was started by Doug Odell and his wife, Winnie. Huh. Well, that's interesting. And then his sister, Corky. So that's cool, man. It's kind of neat that you can find out some of this stuff.
Right. Well, then I think what's even better there, it looks like in 2015, they sold it to the co-workers. So now it's an employee-owned brewery.
It's 100% employee-owned. That's pretty wild.
Right.
That's a cool deal.
Right. So, I mean, not only did they start something, but now it's carrying on.
Yes. For sure, because there's a lot of times you hear that a craft brewery is around and then it's gone.
Right.
And I know there's a lot of competition in that, and I'm sure, one goes away, two more join in or start up, it seems like, but you never want to see any of them go away, especially craft breweries. I think I'd rather see them around. Than some of the majors, but that's neither here nor there. So, all right. So we're going to break into this one. Does it say what the ABV?
6.1.
6.1. Okay.
And 19 IBUs.
All right. So it's going to be a maltier flavor, I'm sure, just like normal.
So it shouldn't be over the top hoppy if.
Right. I say, I don't think, we've never really had it. I take that back, because if you get into fest beers, and that's, we had talked about that before, that's kind of the cousin of the Oktoberfest or the Marzahn. The fest beer, the main difference is that it's hoppier. It's got more hops in it. So it is a different style. So this one is it's a little bit lighter than what I would expect for a normal Oktoberfest color.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It's not as transparent. It's got a little.
It's not like an amberish color. It's a little lighter.
Smells good.
Oh yeah.
That's a Marzahn.
Yep.
You can tell right away that, but I mean, the flavor's good.
The fact that it's nice and it's cold.
Yes.
That's not bad. I don't mind that.
No,
that's a pretty good flavor. You can definitely taste that biscuity, the malty side of it for sure. I don't get, like you said, the hops are pretty low. The aroma smells like an Oktoberfest.
Yeah, I mean, 6.1%. It's a little bit above one of the big box beers that you get, but I mean, I think I could still drink a couple of these.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
I mean, this is not
I agree.
There's no bad aftertaste. It doesn't linger. I'm almost like I might be in Munich. It tastes so good.
Well, we're going to hold off on that until we try the German one, but this is good. I really can't find a whole lot wrong with it, honestly. No. I mean, the flavor is good. Like I said, the color is a little bit lighter than what I'm used to with an Oktoberfest, but that doesn't matter.
Right.
I mean, it's the taste that counts.
We can always turn the lights off if you want to drink it. You won't be able to see it then.
See?
Well, it's a new day, so how many stars are you going to... Oh, actually, before I do that, have you increased your number of beers you've rated, or what is your number up to?
It is right now currently at 4,555.
So it's creeping.
It's creeping up. We're getting there.
All right.
Considering, I think, because it's funny. On Untappd, you can look and see how many beers you've had over a year and all this and that when you're an insider. Insider. And last year it was a little over 1,000 beers, different beers that I had rated. And this year I was like, boy, I don't know. It seems like I'm kind of,
falling behind?
Yeah. And it's because I hit 4,000. It must have been, I'm trying to remember if it was it's either shortly after Thanksgiving or and I think it was closer to New Year's. I think it was New Year's. We were up with BK, and that's when I hit 4,000 because they made a big deal out of it.
Okay.
So I thought, well, if it was around New Year's, then it's not quite so bad because then, I added that many. So I'm right on pace. Yeah. I'm keeping my pace up. So that's good.
That's good. So what are you thinking on stars then?
I like this. Odell did a good job on this one. Like I said, I think that the flavor and the aroma are both really good.
I mean, rich and malty. I think they set it right on the top there. I think that's good. That hits it.
Yep.
I would recommend this one.
I would too. I mean, honestly, I think for me, I'm giving this like a 3.3. I think it's really good. I enjoy it.
I think I'm right. I think I even like it a little more. I'm going to give it a 3.5.
Oh, nice.
It's for me, it's a good. We've had a few drinks and there's still no aftertaste.
No.
Which, that doesn't usually happen with many beers. So kudos to Odell. Did a great job. Continue the good work.
I agree. That is the artwork on the can too. And we'll post a picture we posted a picture on it, but it's cool. I mean, it's got almost like you're in the woods.
Yep.
In Colorado, there's a cabin on it and a picnic table in the front. And just the colors are kind of the oranges and the blues and the whites, kind of what you expect from, like Oktoberfest time. So that's cool. I give him credit for the can. I give him credit for, especially with the beer. I mean, that was good.
Yeah.
So what's been going on? I haven't talked to you about the farm much lately.
Yes.
What's been going on? I mean, it's getting closer to harvest time.
Yep.
I mean, we've definitely, in our area, the weather hasn't been the best. I mean, it was really dry for a long time, and now it's been raining the last however many days. But how are things going?
Good. That stupid groundhog is still showing his face. Every time I see him to go out there, it's like he must sense that I'm around because he must be sunning himself in the grass. Because whenever I look towards where his new home is, because since I scared him out of one, now he's like found a new home where he's digging up. It looks like a big piece of fur just laying in the grass. Because he's just laying there still, and he's like stretched out. So he's like 2 feet long, maybe 6 inches wide, just laying there, laying in the sun. Then when he sees me around, then he'll like scamper back into his hole. So yeah, so I've been kind of trying to figure out a way that I can like move him on down the road, because I've moved him twice now, and there's got to be a way I can just move him a third time, and then I won't have to like get rid of him. I can just send him to the neighbor somewhere.
So when you pull in and see him laying there, I'm sure there's a part of you that's going, oh, maybe he's done. Maybe something else got him, and that's it.
Right.
But not so much.
He's just laying there still. Then all of a sudden, I'll walk around, and his head will pop up. Look at me.
He's like, hey, Jim, how's it going?
And then he like rolls over onto his belly, and he slowly this kind of like crawls to the grass. I'm like, so he's just antagonizing me.
He is totally doing it on purpose.
Yeah, because he's not like running away.
Right.
He just like slowly just kind of slithers through the grass. So yeah, he's number one on my list right now for trying to move on down to a neighbor's house somehow.
See, it's terrible. Because they can do damage, and you don't want them, but then it's like, in a way, it's kind of funny. I know to you it's not funny, because if it was my house or whatever, I wouldn't find it funny either. But it's, what do you do? I guess that's, we'll have to see. Hopefully he like decides he's done with you and moves on.
And that's what I'm hoping. Move on to somebody else, let them enjoy them.
Exactly.
Well, what do we got next on tap?
Well, let's try this Mobtoberfest.
There you go. All right.
Celebrate with us. And this one it says Oktoberfest style lager, 6.3%. So it's a little bit higher. The first one you said was 6.1.
Yep.
This is 6.3. And is it 12 IBU?
20.
20, I'm sorry.
Yep.
All right. Let me see if there's anything else on the can. It's kind of a cool, on their can, they got it's like a
keg?
Yeah, it looks like a keg. And then there's accordions on either side. There's pretzels. There's, like Hammerschlagen on the side. There's bratwurst, or that style. Some kind of a sausage there. They got
pretzels.
They've got the big steins and all that. Speaking of that, I'm sure you've seen some of those reels that are on social media anywhere, where you see the ladies that are working in Munich typically.
Okay. Yep.
And they're carrying, because there you get like that. Isn't it like a liter?
Yeah, that's a big stein
mug.
Yeah.
And they're huge, and they'll be carrying 12 of them. And I'm like, I'm sorry, but
upstairs.
Congratulations. I wouldn't want to start a fight with any of those ladies. And they don't look like they're
that big.
Yeah, no, but oh my gosh, it's the most amazing thing I've ever seen. So
walking through a crowd, walking upstairs, and they get them all right to the table and set them down, and none of them are tipped over.
Nope. And I was like, that is impressive.
Yeah.
That's why I still say at some point we have to make the trek over to Munich for an Oktoberfest, even if it's just a couple days.
Right.
Or whatever. That would really be cool to kind of just check that out.
I mean, just looking on Instagram and seeing those reels, it looks like a bigger party than what I've ever seen, or any state fair from around here.
Yeah. So let's see. What else did you find?
Well, did you see that? I've never even heard of this before. Crowd-sourced brewery.
Huh.
I had never heard of that before.
So that's how they started.
Well, and that's how they do it right now.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Did you see that other paragraph where it says, so then he asked the people what kind of beer that they think they should brew.
Well, do you remember there was the one?
There's a co-op, isn't there, in Minnesota too?
A what?
A co-op that does that?
Oh yeah, yes. I think when BK and I did a podcast early on, we had another one that was from Mobcraft, I believe, and it was like said right on the can that it was an idea from these two sisters.
Right.
And it was like, well, that's kind of weird. I never realized that that's how they did it.
I know, I hadn't either. I mean, because it looks like they're leveraging the power of the crowd.
Oh, there we go.
Generate ideas for unique craft beer.
That is neat. That's cool.
I mean, because the people are going to be drinking your product, so why not ask them what they want to drink?
And maybe more breweries do that than we know.
Right.
But You don't hear about it. So no. I think this is kind of more of an outlier than the norm. You know,
and I mean, cool. Well, we'll find out how good a job they did on this. Yeah. Whoever came up with this idea, I mean, let's hope, because it says it's a Vienna style lager.
Yep. Okay.
So is that? I don't know. I'm not a professional. How you differentiate Marzahns? Is that Vienna? I mean, the city where the hops came from? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know 100% for sure what that is, but I'm sure it's still over that style, more like a German style, but probably a little different take on it. I'm guessing. So I guess let's find out here. Ooh. Now, a couple of years ago, I had bought an advent calendar from Mobcraft, and they had 24 different beers. I'm sorry. And it was one of each of these different beers, and it was really cool. So, that's one thing that I think we're going to look into is get an advent calendar. And for the month of December, we're going to we'll do, each week we'll have the next 6 for that week.
Yep.
So I think it'll be kind of an interesting thing. It all depends. I know I've seen some where it's all German beers. I did like the Mobcraft one because it was all different styles.
Right. I guess that's the hard part too, is how do you rate them?
Right.
Because none of them, the only similarity is the brewer.
Right. So it'll be interesting. I think, when we typically go on like when we run around either on a Black Friday or we'll do whatever. And when we come across them, we'll run into these advent calendars. We'll just have to kind of take a look at them and see which way we're going to go on it. But I think that'd be cool to do.
Yeah. Yeah. That sounds like a good plan. I think my calendar's free that day.
There you go. All right. So now we're going to do the Mobtoberfest.
It's got a good name. So, I mean, that's going for it. It's got good art.
Yeah. This one, it looks like it is a little bit darker in color.
Oh, there you go.
The first one, I mean, just a tinge, but it is
a little more orangish.
Yes. A little bit more of an amber. Not like you said, like an orangish, not really an amber. It is kind of an orange. Yeah. And but it's kind of a little bit more along the lines, I think, of what I typically think of as an Oktoberfest.
Yeah. I mean,
it smells like a Marzahn.
It smells like a Marzahn.
It's got that sweet kind of a smell.
Sweet aroma. There's flavor there.
There's flavor. That is different. That is definitely different than the
first one.
Than the Odell.
Not a bad different, but it's definitely almost like kind of dries my mouth out. It's almost like wood. I don't know what would cause that.
You said the IBUs was how much? 20?
20.
And that first one was higher, wasn't it?
19.
Oh, 19. Okay. But just the one because I taste more hops.
You taste more hops?
I taste at the end. It's almost like that. I think when you said like your mouth dries all up, I think that's from the hops, I think.
Is that?
It's got, because, a lot of those IPAs when we've had them, it's almost like you got to scratch your tongue if they're so dry. And I'm not saying that this one isn't that bad.
Right. It's not bitter hoppy.
Right.
It's just like it kind of dries you out for me. I don't know. It's definitely different. They're not, they're the same style, but they definitely have different flavors.
Yeah. And that's and maybe that's, like you said, the Vienna.
Okay.
Maybe that's part of it. However that plays into it, I'm sure that affects the flavor and such, but it definitely has a different flavor to it than what the Odell had.
I did see here in the very, very tiny print, I got my glasses up close now, it says, a classic Oktoberfest lager boasting a golden amber hue with bountiful malt character. Maybe is it the malts you think that are... Or is it more the hops that are...
I would have thought the malt, because like I said, the aroma was like a sweeter smell, and I could see where that's the malt.
Right.
But the flavor, it's not like that sweeter biscuity type flavor to it. It's almost a little bit of a hoppier...
Right.
Kind of a sharper flavor. I don't know if that's a good way to describe it, but that's what it...
Yeah, and I think the hard part for me too is we did start off with a really, really good one. Our first one tasted really good. This one doesn't taste bad. It's just not, I don't know if it's up at that same level.
Right. Oh, I agree. And, like you said, it's funny because all of these, we have never had them. So it's hard to say which one to start with. You know what I mean? So we're just kind of rolling the dice. But yeah, I agree. I think the first one, myself, I like that first one better for flavor.
Yeah. I don't know. Do you want me to give you my stars on this one?
Yep.
Kudos. I really appreciate what they're doing, getting the power of the crowd to leverage how they want to craft their beer, because it's for the people, by the people, for the people, which is awesome. I'm all for that, because if people like you and I aren't talking about these beers, they're going to go away. So I think it's good that we're getting stuff like this. I'm just not sold on this flavor 100%. And unfortunately, I think I'm going to have to give it like a 2.9. I don't know how you're thinking, but it's not a bad beer. it's just not up there for me. One of my favorites, I guess.
I agree 100%. Between the two, like I said, I definitely like the Odell better. Like I said, it's got almost a sharp, hoppier flavor to it. And it's one of those where, is it offensive? No, not at all. Between the two, though, I would definitely pick the Odell first. Just It's a little bit more of a
little smoother.
Maybe a classic type of an Oktoberfest flavor to it. And I was going to say a 2.9 exactly.
Okay. Well,
because I was thinking, boy, it's not bad, but between the two, the other one was that much better to me. And again, I agree 100% with you when you talked about the crowdfunding and all that kind of support. You think about it. The first two we've had, the first one is 100% employee owned. The second one is crowdfunded. Right. I mean, that is pretty crazy. It's a neat time, I guess, for craft breweries.
Right. And I mean, I think it's good that they're thinking outside the box.
Yep.
Like, the big brands right now, everything has to be done right there. They don't get input from anybody. Here's my beer, drink it. Now they're asking the people, what do you want? And we'll make it for you.
Yep.
I mean, that's how else, that's the best part of marketing. I would think, we've seen some stumbles the past few months on how not to market a beer. And here now you got the exact opposite of, the perfect way you should do it.
Yep. I agree 100% with you, man. Maybe we should do another one in a hurry. And then we can keep going on with see what else is going on.
Twist my arm really hard.
We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got 7 of them?
Yeah.
So we might as well have another one right away. I know this is a little outside of what we've been doing lately, but why not? So we're going to Great Lakes Brewing, and this is Oktoberfest Marzahn Style Lager. What did you find out on them?
Let's see here. So the little write-up I got, because it says, our take on this classic German style is a real malt party packed with toasty autumnal flavors, perfect for hearty hoisting. So you don't want to say that after you had a couple of beers, because some of those words might meld together.
That's where you need those ladies from Munich to hoist them for you.
Yes, there you go. It's 6.5 ABV and 20 IBUs.
Okay. And on the bottle, this is in a bottle, a normal, like a 12-ounce bottle. But on the label, it's got a gentleman holding one of those great big
Steins. Yep,
the big Steins, and it's blue and white checkered and all that, and it's like kind of an outdoor scene, and got the oranges and the blues. It's cool.
Kudos. Good artwork again. If Brian was around, he'd be probably like just gushing over all the artwork that's on it, because all of them have really done a spectacular job. It's not that we always see this many different. They're all fall oriented and got some good fall colors and good artwork. So kudos to them for taking that extra step.
The thing I've noticed is, remember the last one we did in our August Oktoberfest review? Those all really referred back to the German Oktoberfest.
Right.
The party, how it started. These ones, they haven't really done that per se, but they still have kind of hung on to that heritage.
Yep.
And this is kind of the first one that really did the blue and white checkered and, kind of that, what you would think of for Oktoberfest.
Yes. Yep. And this is even now a little bit more amber color, isn't it?
Yeah.
We kind of like stepped it's up in an amber coloring.
This is by far the most amber colored one we've had so far. And again, it'll be interesting to see how the actual German one looks.
Right.
To compare,
And it looks like here on Great Lakes, founded by two brothers, Patrick and Daniel Conway in Cleveland.
Okay.
And they are Ohio's original craft brewery. Huh. Didn't know that.
No, from 88. So that's been around for a while as well.
An employee owned since 2018.
Man, that is something.
Yeah.
And maybe I just don't pay attention to that, but it seems like, that's cool.
Because they're keeping going. Maybe there was struggling with the original owners, and maybe that was the only way they could keep it going, but kudos to them for keep brewing beer.
Well, and I think if you're employee owned, it keeps the employees a little more vested, a little more, you know what I mean? They don't get where, I don't want to be here and blah, blah, blah. They're really looking at, we need to keep putting out good beer to continue selling because we're profiting from this as well.
This is our livelihood. This is our job.
Yeah.
By selling more beer, making good product, people are going to like it. This definitely has a different taste to it. This is
this went down the wrong pipe. I'm sorry.
Of these first three, this is a different.
This one is definitely maltier. It does have a little bit of a different finish.
Yeah, I don't know
how to describe that, but it's just a little. There's a little something in there. That's a little.
They're using the word malt a lot in their marketing stuff. So is it a different malt that they're?
I don't know.
It says, so for malts, it says 2-row base malt, Munich malt, and caramel 45 malt.
Okay, because your 2-row base is kind of your
standard,
your go-to malt.
Okay,
that you use in a lot of beers, and then Munich and caramel 45. I'm sure the caramel 45.
Maybe that's what
to the color,
right?
And maybe it has
a little bit of that flavor. Maybe that's what we're tasting.
Yeah, because this is definitely the darkest, the most amberish colored one we've had so far.
And I think this one probably has the most flavor. But for 20 IBUs, it's still
got a little bit of a hop finish to it. And that's something, because you think with the amount of malt that they use in lagers typically that you wouldn't get, that would kind of knock that down a little bit for hoppiness. But it's not bad, but it's definitely just a little bit different.
Yeah, and again, I don't know, just my opinion, this is still not up there with with Odell's. That Odell's, I could still drink 2 or 3 of those. These last 2, they're not bad. I just don't know if I could do a couple beers of it. I don't know.
Right.
And it's not bad. I mean, and granted, now we did 6 or 7 on October or August, and now we're on number 3 now. So we're almost professionals tasting Marzahn.
At least for this year.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, it's a different take, I guess, on that Marzahn, just how I think.
Yep. And that's what I had when you and I had talked about it before, and I think we talked about it on the August Oktoberfest one, that when I went to the La Crosse Oktoberfest that year, when the first year they did their craft beer night, every place in there had their own version of an Oktoberfest, and it was vastly different.
Right.
And it's just, to me, it's just strange, because yes, I know there's if you look at a stout or an IPA, there's vastly different flavors there, but you would think an Oktoberfest is pretty known recipe or a style.
Right.
And you would think, and I know you want to differentiate yourself a little bit from everybody else, but it just, to this day, surprises me how different it can taste.
Well, and I think the other part, too, that it's interesting is it's that little nuance. It's not the gangbuster flavor. It's that very subtle tail end little finish. Because I mean, I think they all start the same when you take that first swig, but then when it's in your mouth and the flavors start coming through is where they start to separate themselves.
I agree with you. That's a good way to say it. That they do all start very similar, but then it's how the finish is.
Right.
Yeah. I guess I'll go first on this one.
Go ahead.
I do, like I said, the color-wise, I think they're almost spot on what I consider an Oktoberfest. The aroma was very good. I thought it definitely had that sweeter smell to it. The flavor, again, it had a little bit of a weird finish to it, in my opinion. I'm going to go with a 3. I think it's better, a little better than the Mobcraft, but it's not up to the Odell.
Okay. All right. I'm going to go just a slight different approach. I liked, for sure, the Odell's up at the top. That was kind of so far our best one. I did like the Mobtoberfest a little, just a touch better than this one. So I'm going to give this one a 2.8.
Oh, okay.
Just a slight, for some, like I still have the aftertaste of that last swig in my mouth.
Sure.
The other ones had a much cleaner finish. So I think that's where I'm just kind of splitting hairs for that one.
See, for me, I guess it might just be that the malty flavor was a little bit stronger on this one. I think that's why I liked it a little better.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, and like I said, to me, it was kind of getting a little closer to more of a classic style.
Okay.
I do think that, we've had better, we've had a lot worse.
Sure.
Yep.
But
yeah, I think it was good.
Yep.
All right. So what else has been going on at the farm? So woodchuck is still pestering you.
Yep. So it's going to kind of segue into our next beer. But as I was driving out to the farm, and I always want to be observant, looking to see if there's any trees down, any damage, anything like that. So as I'm getting ready to pull into the farm, I kind of look off to my left, and the county highway is elevated above the field. So you can look over the top of the field you can actually look over the entire cornfield. Ooh, excuse me. And I look, and I don't really know what I'm looking at, because it kind of looks like a scarecrow, standing out in the field. And I'm like, well, that's odd. That's not supposed to be there.
You didn't put a scarecrow out there?
I didn't put one out there. And what even made it more weird is, like, if you're out in the woods or you're walking anywhere, if it's a wild animal, it's always moving.
Yep.
This was wings out, fully stretched out, and facing due east.
So,
and
was it like an eagle, or?
It was bigger than an eagle. So,
oh my gosh.
I did a little research, and apparently it's a turkey vulture.
Oh, yeah.
So it was just standing on the ground, wings completely wide open. I mean, because it was probably standing 2 feet tall.
Yep.
Wings are out 6-7 feet long and standing completely still. And apparently, I looked some of this up because I didn't know what it was. I'm like, well, I don't know what the heck this was. And apparently every morning they do this. They face the sun to dry themselves off from the dew from the previous night.
That's why I had no idea that they did that.
I had never seen anything like that. Now, I've seen them flying around, but I've never seen one in the morning just as the sun was coming. I mean, it was probably like 8 o'clock. So it wasn't like right when, but the sun was just starting to peak above the trees, and there was no fog or any dew like that. It was just the sun beating down on this big bird. So I'm like, I'll try to send you a couple pictures. We'll post out there.
We'll post them out there.
Because it just looks so weird.
That's crazy because, I've seen, like, you got cranes or herons or whatever out there a lot.
Yep.
And I guess now that you mentioned it, I have seen, must be those vultures flying around, but you don't see them, like, on the ground a whole lot.
Right. And the one thing I think that kind of, when we show the picture, is you can see on the ends of their feathers, they actually look like fingers.
Oh, yeah.
The feathers, I mean, like an eagle, when its wings are out, the back edge is kind of flat. It's one consistent. These, it had its wings, the feathers were all spread apart. They look like big fingers.
That's wild.
So
he was out there all by himself.
By himself, because I thought maybe it was something that maybe got a rabbit or a mouse or something like that. But its head was up in the air, standing still, never moves. And I drove all the way around it, parked, got out of the truck, and walked like the 100 yards to it and still filmed it standing there.
That's crazy. Yeah. I never had any idea that they would do that they dry themselves in the morning. That is wild.
I know. I mean, being on a farm all your life, you never see things. All of a sudden now, stuff like, it's just, I guess maybe taking more observation of the surroundings.
You think about it, because like turkeys, you don't see them do that.
No.
I mean, the toms will fan out, but they're not doing it to dry themselves. That is wild. That's just weird how all these different animals have these different little quirks that they do.
Right. So that almost looks like the artwork then on the next beer. The lady's hair.
This is pretty wild. So this is by Ale Asylum, and it's Oktillion Oktoberfest. Now, the artwork on here, what do they call it? It's like the I can't remember the name of it. It's like where they decorate their faces almost like a skeleton. It's like the Day of the Dead is like there's a festival.
Is it the one in New Orleans? New Mexico.
In Mexico.
Okay.
They do this, and I apologize because I know one year for Halloween my daughter had her face painted up like that, and this is really cool. I mean, they got boy. I mean, I give them credit. They did a fancy job on the artwork on this. This is wild.
Yeah.
So let's see. It is 6%.
Yep. That's what I got too. Yep.
Let's see. What else did it say? An intricate blend of American and European malt for a light amber color and soft bready malt flavor with a crisp finish and no residual sweetness. Oh, so here okay. I have to tell you something because Ale Asylum, they used to be out kind of towards the airport.
Okay.
There was that road where you'd take it to go to the airport. And they went out of business. My wife and I, we were there for, I think our daughter I can't remember if it was a volleyball tournament or basketball.
Okay.
And we were there, and actually the three of us went to Ale Asylum and had dinner.
Okay.
And it was a nice place. And then all of a sudden I saw online that they went out of business.
Right.
And they sold everything.
Yep.
So then when you started saying, I got this Ale Asylum, I'm like, well, that's old because they've been out of business for a couple of years, I believe.
Yep.
But what you found is that Carbon 4, which is in Madison, that they're bringing back the Ale Asylum beers. So I'm wondering, did they just buy the recipes, I wonder? Or did it say anything on there about that?
It just said that they were trying to bring some of them back. When you look on the website, it has a whole bunch of beers, but it doesn't say this one's Carbon 4, this one's... Like this one says it right on the can. Yeah, it doesn't even mention Carbon 4 on the can. So I don't know. Yeah, so I don't know if Ale Asylum kept the recipe and they're just having them bottle it for. So it's a little unclear, but I mean, hopefully the beer tastes as good as the artwork. Because
I'm glad that they're bringing it back. If as long as it tastes like it used to, because Ale Asylum had some very good beers.
Oh, good.
And when I heard that they shut down and they were selling everything, it was like, oh man, it was a nice place. Yeah. So it'll be interesting, man, to see. And it's funny because for anybody in the upper Midwest, Carbon 4 also made the Quick Trip beers. You remember those? They had I think at least a couple of them. One was a glazer
donut one,
and then one I think the first one they had might have been an IPA, I believe.
Right.
And I think the IPA was a little bit better than
The glazer one. Super sweet.
They made that for Quick Trip in the upper Midwest anyway. I don't know if anybody else got it. But.
Yeah, well, I just hope because I would have to say for artwork, this is probably the best artwork of all the ones that we've got for our tasting today.
Well, and the thing that's a little bit weird to me is the fact that they have totally went way far away as far as artwork and such from an Oktoberfest.
Right.
You know what I mean? It says Oktoberfest style on it, but nowhere on this can would you look at that and think, oh, that's Oktoberfest.
Right, and even the name, Oktillion.
Oktillion.
So it's not even it doesn't even say, it just says Oktoberfest under it in smaller letters, but.
So yeah, that is wild. It is a little bit lighter, not quite as light as the Odell.
Right.
But it's lighter than the other ones. It definitely still, you can smell the malt.
Yeah, that's got a good flavor.
Yeah, that's definitely a smoother
much
flavor than the last couple of them. That's not bad. Again, like I said, and I'm sure the artwork is probably a carryover from the original Ale Asylum. It's a little confusing to me because, like I said, it looks like
it looks like
the different thing.
Right, you know? Like tying into what you were saying about the Living Dead, the lady, and then but she's got her hands full of the big steins walking. So you wouldn't want to see that lady bringing your beer stein to you in Munich, would you?
Oh, she does have. I never even paid attention to that. Yeah, you know, is the holiday, is it Los Muertos, I think is the name of it?
Oh, you got me.
I believe is what it is, but maybe, that's what she looks like.
So I think you might think you're in the wrong place if you see her bringing your beer.
Or it could be like a Halloween type thing because it's like a zombie.
Right.
Kind of look to it a little bit.
So yeah, I mean, now the one thing I've just noticed, I mean, it wasn't right away, but the finish does last a little bit longer. I mean, it's not the initial taste and the flavor is good. It's mellow, but then it's got a taste that just kind of stays on there for a little while. Not a bad thing.
Right.
Just a little different because the last one we had, the Great Lakes, the finish was pretty like right there. You know, it's going to punch you in the stomach. This one is a little mellower it's there.
Yep.
Like the Odell's, there was no finish at all. I mean, you drank it, it was gone. Yep. So, I mean, it's not bad though.
No, it's not bad.
And this is a 6%, so
they've been all right there,
at 6%.
Very good comparisons, head to head kind of thing.
Yes.
I guess what do you think?
Gosh, I think I was spoiled. I think that Odell's kind of spoiled me. I think they're still the best one. I think I'm going to go with 3.4 though on the Oktillion.
Oh wow.
Right up there.
Wow. Yeah, you're liking that one a little bit better than I am.
What do you think?
For me, I think the artwork is unbelievable, but I think it's the wrong holiday or the wrong occasion. So the plus one, and then I have to take it away because I think it was the wrong one a little bit. To me, it does have a little bit of a strange finish.
Yep.
I'm going to say, I'm going to go 2.8.
Okay.
I know I put it behind the Mob Craft, but it's just kind of that the finish to me hangs on, but to me it's not a really good finish,
right?
In my opinion,
but it's different. I mean,
it's different. There you go. Yeah.
And I think what is good is each one of these first four, they've all been just a little bit different. Mm-hmm. They're not all the same, and I think that's going to.
Otherwise, this one, like I said, was a little bit darker than the Odell, but not as dark as the other two.
Right.
So again, that's where it comes back to me, where it's just strange how you can take so much creative liberty. Right. We'll say with a Mars on an Oktoberfest, it seems like more so than any other brand or style of beer out there. Just that's the thing that I've noticed anyway.
Well, and I mean, it's a kudos to all the craft beer makers. I mean, I think they understand too that you don't want to be just like your brother or your sister. You want to be a little bit different. Yep. But I still think they're all pointing in the right direction.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, there's not been a single one of the four we've tried so far that I wouldn't have said, oh yeah, that's
it's out left field somewhere.
There's been nothing like that. Now, after we try the actual German one, we may be looking back going, wait a second,
right?
Who knows? But we'll get there pretty quick.
Yes, we're again, and I hate to say this all the time, but I found all these in the Build Your Own 6-pack.
Yeah.
A couple of these I did have to buy a couple of 6-packs because I couldn't find them. But I mean, these are all good beers. I mean, and kudos for the beer distributors getting these different beers out because I think people want to try something different.
Yep.
I think people are getting, just by the way some of the bigger beer brands have been kind of kicked back a little bit recently. I think people are ready for some Marzons this time of year. Try something different. Try something new.
Yep. And that is kind of neat where it's fall time. And what's the first thing that I know you and I both think of is, okay, Oktoberfests are coming out and then pumpkin is coming out.
Yep.
And, we had talked about doing a fresh pumpkin
there you
podcast.
go.
And we're going to be doing
Do we have any pumpkins out there?
Someplace there are. I saw some at the store somewhere.
You didn't say squash, did you?
No. We'll get into that next week, I think.
But there's no squash involved.
No squash
okay, all right. Well,
no.
I might have to get a fill-in for me if you got squash.
No, we should be good. I think it's all pumpkin. We'll find out for sure. But
all right.
But it's always kind of neat because, like I said, this time of year you start going, all right, Oktoberfest are coming out. And, and therefore, like I said, after these, I'm sure we'll still try a few other ones, but then you get your fill of Oktoberfest, then you move on, then the stout season's coming.
Right.
Which for you and I, stout season is all the time. But, I mean, it's kind of where people think more wintertime is the stouts, So it's just kind of neat how.
Right. Well, you can't get these beers any other time other than the fall.
Correct. So
even you're kind of anticipating the entire 9 months waiting.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, boom, they're here. So you're like, all right, we got to try these. What's a new one? Let's try them.
Yep. And it seems like, I'd love to know how many breweries out there make an Oktoberfest.
True.
You know what I mean? Because I'm sure it's the same in every area of the country where they've got a number of different breweries that are only in their areas or, that are in that part of the country. And I'm sure every one of them has an Oktoberfest. And it's just kind of neat to see how, like I said, you got this style that everybody does.
Well, and I think the other good part to tie into what you're saying is the area that we live in. The immigrants are all from that part of Europe, Scandinavia, so they all like that style of beer. So you can't find a better place in the United States to sell this kind of beer other than right here. Yep. Just my opinion. I could be biased, but
I agree 100%. That is correct because we definitely have a strong German, Scandinavian.
Yep.
And this is definitely the style of beers that, that they brought over with them.
Right.
I'm thirsty again, so let's try it.
I think we're talking too much.
We're talking too much. So this one is by Hop House. Now, this one, It says it's Oktoberfest, but then it says traditional malty fest beer. Ooh. Now, fest beer is typically hoppier.
Okay. Even though it says Oktoberfest is a style.
Because most of the time, when you see fest beer, it'll say fest beer. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And it does say it here, but I mean, so we'll see. Let's see what.
They had a little bit of a write-up, not much so.
Let's see, Oktoberfest. So it's 5.5%. So this is the lowest ABV.
All right, so we can't.
Of all them so far.
You could have a couple of these on, sounds like.
So let's see. Let's be honest. No one looks good in lederhosen. Well,
kudos.
And the suede doesn't breathe very well at all.
Well, another thing, they're factual.
Two for two.
Yep.
Otherwise, what's not to love about Oktoberfest? 3 for 3.
Yep.
Okay.
Got it.
Our fest beer pours a beautiful amber color and goes down easy. Clean, crisp, and malty. Grab a pint and let's fest.
All right.
It's got the blue and white kind of checkerboard, that you think of for Oktoberfest on the can.
Yep.
And then the can itself is yellow. The top is yellow, and the bottom 2/3 basically are blue.
But like the top is the same kind of diamond shapes.
Yeah, it's got the checkerboard type that you think of for
like our German beer does.
Yep. And then
so that's kind of the common theme.
Whatever that German Oktoberfest hat is.
Oh, yes, with a little feather
in it.
Yep.
It's got that on there as well. So where is this one out of? Did it say?
This is Hoppo. It did not say, and I could
Fitchburg.
Oh,
Fitchburg, Wisconsin.
So this is a homegrown one here.
Homegrown one. So
all
we'll
right.
see there.
All right. Well, and this next one's like pretty darn close to right down the road, right?
Yep. So this one is
looks like it has some head there.
Yeah. Either that or I poured it really bad.
Well, you're the bartender, so don't.
It is lighter in color a little bit. I mean, not as light as the Odell,
right?
Still, but it's it's not quite as amberish.
Not really much for aroma.
There's not a whole lot of
pretty nondescript.
Yeah,
it's not bad.
Yeah, for a fest beer, it's confusing me because typically when you do a fest beer, like I said, they're hoppier, and that's what differentiates those two styles. And this one really
now on the finish, on my tongue,
I am getting that now.
after the finish,
yes,
a little bit. But I mean, the flavor, the initial flavor, the taste is all good. Then it's just that little bit of hop that lingers in your mouth.
Yep, I agree. And
but it's not bad.
No, and that's the fest beer style.
That's a part of it. Okay.
Yep. But like I said,
but for me, I don't like IPAs. I don't like a lot of hop flavor. But for me, this is because I'm not an expert. I don't have 4,500 beers tasted like you.
I'm trying. Only got like 43.
I'm trying to catch up. So your point about the hoppiness kind of intrigues me because I'm not a hoppy guy. I don't like those style. But this is if it has a lot of hop, and the name of the brewery is Hop House.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're thinking, it's going to be really hoppy, or?
But to me, it's not. So I mean, I would definitely, if anybody's out there that's like kind of taken back by some of the hoppy flavor, this is not. You don't have to worry. No. This is not over the top hoppy. This is not anything like that. I think it's pretty good beer.
Yeah, I don't mind it.
I mean, it's the finish is definitely different than the Great Lakes and the Oktillion. Mm-hmm. It's not as sharp. It's
correct.
The weird part is the flavor kind of starts and then it drops away, which is nice. I mean, for me, for drinking a beer, that's what I want to see is where the finish stays there for a little bit. When you've already had your drink, it drops off and it's kind of gone away.
Yep.
I don't know if you have that same opinion or how you think on that.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're almost spot on. Exactly on that. It's not bad. I mean, like I said, Hop House
right.
And then Fest beer, I thought, boy, this could really be hoppy, and there is a little bit of a dryness on the end, I guess you could say, which is the hop. But yeah, that's not bad. I don't mind it for a Fest beer. That's pretty good.
I mean, do you want to give the starter off again? Give the whirl again?
Personally, I would say I'm going to give it a 3-1.
Okay, wow.
Because for a Fest beer, it's a very good Fest beer. I think, I've had some other ones, and there's a couple other ones out there that I would definitely say are better than this one. But I think this one holds its own with the actual Marzahn ones here. Because sometimes we've had them before where we have all Marzahns and then one Fest beer, and that one really is drastically different. Where this one, it holds its own with all these other ones. So yeah, I go 3-1.
So could you clarify one thing for me? Just because again, I'm a novice, just asking a dumb question. So on the can, it does say Oktoberfest.
Correct.
But in their write-up, they talk about Fest beer. So how would the person that's going out buying beers like this know the difference? I mean, is there a way that, because I don't really know the difference, and what you told me makes complete 100% sense.
Yep.
But I just don't know how, when I'm buying a beer, I would know that just by looking at the can.
Yeah. Again, typically, what I go off of, if it says Fest beer, it just means it's hoppier, typically. Okay. So if people see that it says that, then you should be able to expect that there's going to be and I'm not saying that it's drastically hoppier, but like I said, on the end of this one, it's got that more of a dry finish, and that's, the hop coming through a little bit. So I guess if you see it says Fest beer, just be prepared that it's probably going to be a little hoppier than if it just says Oktoberfest, or if it says Oktoberfest or Marzahn, then it's more malt forward, where your Fest beer is going to have more hop.
Okay, so that's the differentiation.
Yep.
And that's why I was just looking at the can again, just to make sure, because I was trying to make sure I kept all Oktoberfest beers for this category.
The big words are Oktoberfest, and then the smaller writing it says Fest beer. So it's
right.
It was a little confusing. I'm not going to lie to you either, because I didn't realize that till I read the can, and it was just like, okay, that's different.
So do you think that we should still keep it with this group?
Oh yeah, I think it holds its own. Personally, it doesn't bother me that it's in there. It's just a little different.
Okay, and I mean, what's surprising is, I think it's a decent beer. I mean, because again, I'm not a hoppy guy, and I will never profess to know a lot about hops, because I try to stay away from it if I can. But I thought this was like one of the better beer. I think for me, the finish kind of puts it right in the middle of what we've had so far. So I was going to give it like a 3.1.
Sure.
Just like what you did.
Yep.
I mean, for me, that's number 3. So that'll be our 5th beer, our 3rd one right in the middle.
Well, it's like I said, Jim, it surprised me. I mean, for a Fest beer, it's a very good beer.
Yeah, I mean, and if, like you're saying, there's a lot of hops with it.
Yep.
The hops are not over the top.
Correct. And it's more on the finish, that dry finish. That's where you get the hop. Where I've had some other ones where you can definitely tell there's a lot more hops in it. But this is pretty good. I mean, I think Hop House did a good job on it.
Yeah, I mean, and again, unfortunately, I didn't see much about the brewery or how long they've been around. Anything like that. I don't know if you know anything much about Hop House and Fitchburg. I mean, that's close to Madison, right?
I believe so. And, we've had a few of their beers before, but other than that, I really can't, I haven't been there or anything, so I can't really go into more detail on them.
Okay.
But they've been around for a little bit now, and I think they do a good job.
Well, it seems, they're doing it decent, but it's just a little, and again, I'm really surprised that I'm saying it, for a hoppy-ish beer, best beer, hoppy-ish beer, that's not bad.
No.
I'd recommend this one. If somebody's probably in the same boat that I am that doesn't like hoppy beer, I think I'd recommend this to them.
Yep.
I wouldn't have a second thought about recommending it.
No, not at all. It's a good one. So, yeah, when I was thinking about it, when you're talking about, the turkey vultures and all that, must have been a week ago, my wife and I were going back to our house, and we're driving on the one of the back roads, and so she's like, "Oh, look, there's an eagle." And so I looked up, and and we've seen an eagle in this area a number of times. But then all of a sudden there was two more birds that looked even bigger, and I'll guarantee it was turkey vulture. And it was almost looked like they were chasing it.
Really?
Yeah, and I don't know, it was just weird because I've seen before where you have these little bitty birds that chase these eagles and stuff, and
they can't move. They're not as nimble as the small birds.
Yeah, and it's just weird to me because you got these little birds terrorizing this great big eagle. Well, this was these two big turkey vultures and again, it could have just been a coincidence that they were flying by it. I don't know, but it just appeared to me like they could have been chasing it or getting it away from something. Maybe there was a roadkill or something in the area. I don't know, but it didn't look like they were best of friends.
Right,
I can tell you that.
Well, it seems like, just from my experience too, that eagles, no matter how many they are, they're going for prey. A different bird, whether it's turkey, vulture, whatever, they're going, and they don't agree when they're at some type of animal that's dead.
Right.
Either one's in there or the other, they're going to be scaring the other ones out of there.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And I'm sure they're probably direct competition.
Yes.
With each other for whatever they can get.
Oh, for sure.
And it's always something because we're pretty fortunate where we're at. We do see a lot of bald eagles.
Yes.
And they're just these majestic birds. And then you see a turkey vulture. They kind of are a little bit the other end, so to speak.
They're about the most unpleasant looking thing that you ever want to see. Just because I've seen them up close when they're alongside the road eating some roadkill.
Sure. Yep.
You see them there. Well, the red head.
Their head is bald.
Yeah,
not the way a bald eagle is bald. It's just no feathers.
Right to the skin. It's just bright red, even brighter than a fire engine.
Yep.
It's just so bright.
It's just crazy.
But so what do you got there next?
All right, well,
I know it wasn't on our list. I forgot I had it. So this is a special beer bringing out of
this is one that we don't. We know the brewery.
Yep.
I know I've had this one before, and it's good. It is New Glarus Brewing. Their Staghorn Oktoberfest. And
I don't have the write up, but I have some notes here on it.
Okay.
Great Midwestern and European malts. The world's most expensive hops.
Wow.
Fresh yeast from Germany and clear Wisconsin water make our Staghorn Oktoberfest Wisconsin's real red.
Now, look at the color on that one.
That's a different color, isn't it?
That is definitely a darker color.
Staghorn is brewed using the time-honored methods to release the smooth flavor of our roasted malts. This Oktoberfest combines a smooth amber body with a clean, crisp finish. Be sure to hold this one up to the light of any harvest moon and enjoy.
Wow.
Looks like ABV is 6.25, so right in line with those other ones.
Pretty much in line with the other ones. Now, this one is definitely smoother. Yeah.
I guess the initial taste is different, isn't it?
I was going to say, the rest of them, the initial taste has been very similar. This one is a little different. Huh. Yeah, it's not bad.
Its
color is definitely, boy, how do you describe it? It's
they say amber, but I don't know if that's amber.
It's almost a orangey.
It almost looks like a pumpkin color.
Yeah, yes, it looks almost like a pumpkin beer color. The head definitely is white.
Of the 5 we've had previous, this initial flavor tastes different than the other 5. The initial flavor.
Yep.
So I don't know if it's and again, I wish I knew more about beer and how they're making it. Because it doesn't give us a lot of
that is different. It's not in a
good different
way.
Or a bad different.
I say not in a bad way, but it's definitely a different flavor.
Yeah, I'm trying to look at a few more things here. You can pair it with Swedish meatballs, fried a fish fry, or hearty roast beef.
Well, there you go.
What else? What else
do you need?
So they're.
And you look at the bottle, the artwork has nothing honestly to do with Oktoberfest. I mean, it's an orange, black, white, orange type of a.
It looks like somebody's looking through a scope.
There you go. Yeah, and it's got like a stag. And it's supposed to be a stag, but it's like a
big buck?
like a buck deer. It's not a stag. It's more of a buck for whitetail. But this
is definitely different than what we've had so far tonight.
Yes.
And I guess it's because I think we're trying to split. We've already split the hair once or twice. Now we're trying to split those hairs.
Split the split.
You're right.
Yeah.
Because it's not bad.
No, it's not
just
bad.
Different.
Definitely different. And I don't know.
I wish I'm trying to figure out what's bad, and I think that's where I'm struggling. There's nothing bad. Just different. And it's not that's the hard part. It's not a bad different. It's just different. And I don't know if this is their take on Marzahn. I wish I knew a little more. I'm struggling to come up with the words for the description.
Right.
But nothing, I can't, but I don't have anything bad or negative to say.
Yep.
New Glarus has done a good job. I mean, kudos to them. I know they do. I mean, Spotted Cow is their number one beer.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But this is,
it's good.
Not bad.
I guess, have you tasted it enough to formulate a score or?
Yeah. Gosh. Well, again, I think I'm falling back on my, what I've said before. Odell's kind of spoiled me. Gosh, I don't know how we, because we just randomly set our beers out. Yep. It's not like we knew. And I think somehow we picked Odell's first, and it's been, I think, the standard for me so far tonight of what the good beer for Marzahn's been. So basing it just on that fact alone, it's not at Odell's level. For me, I don't, it's just not bad, but it's not up there. Gosh, I think I'm going to go 3.0.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm struggling. This is not an easy one. I wish the adjectives I'm trying to describe it are just not there, but it's not bad. Kudos. I wish I could give it more.
Yeah. I'm in 100% agreement with you. And I know I've scored another one, a 3.0 before, but I'm going to go with 3.0 as well. To me, it's part of the kind of that middle part of the taste is definitely a different thing to it. It starts a little bit different, but then it really goes different. Then it finishes pretty strong.
Right.
But that middle part of the finish or the taste on it there is a little bit weird to me. And I think they do it. New Glarus is a big brewery. They're only available in Wisconsin. That's our deal.
Because you've been there.
I've been there, and we're definitely going to go back. We got to make sure that you go with us at some point because it is amazing. Just to be there is. And they have different tours, and I think one of the tours lasts 3 hours. They
they got 2 different.
Did
you actually get to brew some beer too, or what?
I don't know.
For that long,
we did not have the time to do that, but we have to look into that. But
wow,
it just the look of the place is unbelievable.
And I think the one thing that, if I'm not mistaken, when you and there was a few years back when we went to Between the Bluffs, and we ran into, I don't think it was the brewmaster, but it was somebody from New Glarus, and we were talking to them. And they were one of the few breweries that really takes the sanitation and the cleanliness of their brewery to another level that you don't see in most craft breweries. So it's not a bad thing or a good thing. It's just something that they do above and beyond that most small breweries don't do.
Yep. I give them credit because, like I said, it was unbelievable to see it. And we'll definitely be going back.
Yeah, so. I just wish we could be going back to Munich to watch.
Yeah, well, that's on the bucket list.
Yes, it is. What's scary, and I don't know if we're able to or if it's allowed or not, but the reels you see on Instagram for the Munich Oktoberfest. I think that's all it's called, right? I mean, it doesn't have a special name, but it looks like a carnival.
Oh yeah.
And then just these huge monster tents.
I have watched videos on it, and they've got, I can't remember if it's like 10 or 11 different beer houses. There's this huge tent,
Each tent is by a different brewery?
Yes. And you basically have to decide which one you want to be at, and you buy a ticket. You have to get them in advance, kind of thing.
Okay.
And they have if you want to say a morning round and an evening round or whatever. So there's so many people.
Oh, like clean them all out,
Yes.
like it's a doubleheader baseball game.
Correct. Correct.
Wow.
And but each place, and there's I'll have to send it to you, Jim, because there's a video where these people talk about the top places, the ones you want to go to, and because they've been to all the different ones, and they tell you here's what happens here, here's and some of them are a little more party atmosphere. Yep. Some are a little more laid back, kind of thing. But it really, and of course the beer is just theirs,
right? Well, and
and it's not like you have a huge thing. It's pretty much Oktoberfest, and that's it,
right? I don't know if you remember. I don't know if one of the guys that's been on our podcast a couple times, Toby.
Yep.
From his relatives are from Germany.
Yes.
He's went back a couple times during Oktoberfest.
Oh, really?
And he said it's so unique because one of the things why the Oktoberfest Marzen are so different is because they grow those hops in that local community and use them for the beer. So the soil type and everything goes into that beer. And he said it's so interesting if you try one Marzen in one community, you drive down the road a little bit,
and it's different.
Even though they brewed it the exact same, it's just that soil type. So, I mean, he's kind of got me intrigued of maybe not necessarily going to the party of Munich, but going there once, but then going to some of the smaller communities to see.
Everything I've heard is if you go to the actual Oktoberfest, they go for a couple days and then basically
get out of town.
Because, it's just so crazy. But, that'd be one of those would be fun if you went over for a week, do Oktoberfest for a couple of days, and then, like you said, travel to some of these other outlying
little small towns,
and try beers there. That would be pretty cool.
And the way he was talking, it sounds like all the communities embrace people coming there. Yep. They're not like where you're afraid that you might have to drive in and somebody's gonna get mad. They embrace other people coming in there.
So it's not where you walk in and they all stare at you like, "Who are you?"
Yeah, you're not from here.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's funny that we're talking about Munich because we are now on to
our last beer,
imported German Oktoberfest.
Yes.
And I don't know exactly the pronunciation, if it's Spaten or Spaten. Yeah, I don't exactly know.
We've been corrected a couple times.
We've been corrected a couple times, and I don't know if they were correct or not. I don't know. But this is what we've got is their version of Oktoberfest.
I found this one at the local liquor store. So I'm like, we got to try one Oktoberfest beer that's from Germany. So
I know I saw you head something here.
There's just a little bit of a write-up on it. It's not much.
You have it because
got my so it's 5.9%. Why don't you crack it open and pour, and I'll read a little bit.
Okay.
23 IBU.
So it's a little bit.
So this is supposed to be the highest IBU one of what we had so far. It says this is a darker Marzen beer sold in the U.S. and elsewhere as Spaten Oktoberfest Marzen.
Okay.
This is not capitalized. The Golden Fest beer sold in Munich as Oktoberfest beer.
So this is a knockoff version.
Right. And the name of the brewery is Spaten Franz Eiskanner Lowenbrau Gruppe.
Wow, that's easy for you to say.
A subsidiary of Anheuser-Busch InBev.
Oh.
So that's all I could find on it. I don't have any more, but
you know what's funny, Jim, when you look at it? Remember those videos we were talking about at Oktoberfest with the ladies carrying 12 of those beers? Yeah, this is way darker.
Yeah, this is
color.
This has got to be the darkest one today.
The darkest one we've had today. This is wild.
Well,
boy, that's smooth though.
Yes,
I don't mind that at all.
I'm trying to come up with there's not a bad aftertaste. There's not a.
I guess the only thing I could knock it on is it's in a green bottle.
I almost thought it was Hoffman.
It was like
the Lowenbrau.
So here's a story for you. There's a restaurant by us.
Okay.
And it's a German restaurant.
Yep.
I'm sure you know which one I'm talking about.
Yep.
And all the beers that they have a lot of German inspired foods. Beer, I think that most of the beer is, they have your normal American domestic beers, but then it's all German.
Yep.
And when we were there one time, I thought, I wonder if they have a dark beer.
Dark beer, or did you say craft beer?
A dark beer.
Okay.
And so I was talking to the lady that was our waitress, and I said, I have a question. She goes, yeah. And I said, I know you got a lot of German beers, but, do you have a dark beer? And she goes, dark beer. Oh, yeah, we have Heineken. Yeah. And I was like, I'll have a Hocker, whatever, because personally, I don't really care for Heineken, but it was just funny that's what she thought was.
That was the only thing
it was in a green bottle,
right?
So I thought that was pretty funny.
That was as far as she could.
Yes.
Go.
Yes. So I'm guessing the answer was no. They didn't have a stout. So
I would guess you were right.
Correct.
You are right.
Well, yeah. This one,
it's not bad.
I wish they would have had the actual what they had at Oktoberfest, so we could compare that. But this is very good. I like this.
I mean, I'm trying to come up with some different something negative, and across the board on all of these, there's nothing negative. So I think for the listeners out there, you're safe. Any of the Marzahns that we've tried have not been like horrendously bad that you're gonna like throw it out or dump it down the drain or throw it out. Yep. If you want to try a Marzahn Oktoberfest beer, any of the ones that we've talked about today are okay. I mean, each one is very different, very good, but they're different.
Yep, I agree. Nothing was bad. Nothing was, oh my gosh. I mean, we're still going to pick.
Yep.
What our favorite was, but.
Well, what do you think of Spaten?
This one, I think it was good. I'm going to put it at like a 3.2, just because it's a little different. And I do wish we could have had the actual Oktoberfest that they do. It almost made it sound like, okay, we keep that for here. We'll sell this.
That's especially you got to come over to Germany to taste our beer that we're
yet another reason why we should make the trek at some point. But again, there's nothing that was bad or offensive, and I think anybody that tries it would like it.
Oh, for sure. I think, Mike, I don't know, something's going on here. I think I'm right in the same exact number, 3.2. So I think for me, it's got a good flavor, aroma. The finish is not bad, but I still like the Odells. It's still, for whatever reason today, that's been my trendsetter, and it's up there. This is the, in color, the darkest one we've had. But I mean, for us, dark beer is we have a different category of dark beer. I mean, this is like the
amberish, colorish,
the most amberish
there you go
of colors we've had today.
Yep.
So I like it. I mean, I think they have a good thing going, and I would definitely like to go to Munich. I wish I could go there. If anybody looks on Instagram, those reels that are out there, it looks interesting. I don't know if I could spend a whole day there because it looks like the party does get out of hand, but it looks like it'd be good to go there once. I would definitely like to go there.
And
for sure.
If that time, when that time comes, we will actually record a pod or try to record a podcast because I think it gets very loud.
We might have to do the little speakers that are hooked to our.
Yes, we got the little microphones. We could try and do that.
And I think it would be. But there's only one beer, right? So.
Well, no, each tent, each beer house.
But can we go from tent to tent, or you got to stay?
I think if you're there for, let's say, 2 days, I think what the plan would be to get
two different.
Two
different
one
tickets.
Day you get a ticket to this one day you get one to that one.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? To try that, because otherwise your ticket's only good for that tent.
Right.
So it'll be interesting. But I know it's kind of funny, Jim, because they say that the same video I saw, they go, okay, here's the songs that you need to know. And there's a couple that were in German, but one was Sweet Caroline.
Yes. Yep.
One was
the one by John Denver.
Yes. Yeah. It's like, how is that?
But you can just see
everybody is up. They stand on the bench because it's all like giant picnic table kind of things. They all stand on the benches and they're singing, and it looks like the most unbelievable party I've ever seen.
It looks like a lot of fun.
Yes. Exactly.
Kudos to Munich.
There you go. So we will definitely try and get there at some point.
So Mike, if this is our Marzahn, we might have a couple later on, but I mean, this is our wrap up. Yep. And I know that we're going to be talking about just the 7 we had, but maybe there's one that's outside of these 7 that you thought might have been better. I mean, is there something that that?
Well, no.
Because I mean, the one that comes to mind that was a little. I mean, we did have the Sam Adams Oktoberfest and the Liney's.
Yes.
Now, the only drawbacks to them were they weren't as flavorful.
Correct.
I think these Marzahns were really
these had more flavor.
Yes, more flavor. Opinion. I think right in the Marzahn style to me.
Yep.
I don't know. I mean, they were good. They weren't bad. But I mean, I just kind of throwing that out there too. What do you think?
You know, of these, because I'm just going to look at these 7.
Okay.
For flavor wise, I would say the Odell was the best one.
Okay.
Flavor wise. Color wise, I mean, the Oktillion, the Hop House, and then even the last one was more of, kind of more of that. Actually, the last one, the Spaten, or however you pronounce it, I apologize. That one is actually a little bit darker, I think, than what I'm used to for an Oktoberfest. So I think the Hop House and such, that was probably color wise is more what I would picture.
Right.
But when push comes to shove, I would say if you're going to try one of them, try the Odell. I mean, honestly, that to me had the best flavor and aroma. The only thing was lacking a little bit was the color.
Right.
But again, like you said earlier, they were all extremely good. There's not a one of them I had to say to stay away from. And yeah, I think it's you'd like any of them.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, again, prost to all the brewers. They did a great job. I appreciate them brewing it so that we could try them. That was awesome. And without them brewing it, we wouldn't have an opportunity to even be able to taste these different styles. So thank you for doing that. I appreciate it. And when I give my opinion, it's only my opinion, my taste buds. It's not saying any of these are bad.
Yep.
It's just how my taste buds are definitely different than somebody else's.
Yep.
But I think all these are a good representation of Marzahns and the One Fest beer. So I think they're all good. And I think anybody would have an enjoyable time if they had to buy a 6-pack or a 4-pack of any of these beers. They could drink them without any problem. They wouldn't have to pour anything out. And I'm going to have to follow right with Mike. Somehow, Mike set it up perfect. We tried Odell's first, and it was our best beer. And for me, I still think it was the best beer, even after these 7. I still think that had the best flavor, aroma, finish. It hit all the key wickets for me.
Yep.
The other ones were not bad, but they just didn't hit the mark as good as the Odell's. So I don't know how you want to go with that, Mike.
I agree, Jim, because like I said, it's funny. We just pulled them out of the 6-pack, and the other ones just set them in line, and somehow the Odell's was first. And like I said, it was very good. Way to go, Odell's, and all the breweries. I mean, they, like you said, every one of them was good in its own way. There wasn't a clunker at all in these. So if you get to try any of them, I would say go for it.
Yep.
So
I think the one thing though, right? So we're giving everybody our opinion on Oktoberfest.
Yep.
And our next episode, we're going to try to give everybody.
We are going to try some fresh pumpkin beers.
Is there any squash?
I can neither confirm nor deny at this point. I have to look on some of the cans and bottles.
Okay.
But remember we did the old that we found in the fridge. And
yes.
We had the one that was unbelievable.
Yep.
And we're going to see what we can find out there. We've already gathered some.
Yep.
And we'll see if they taste any different. Of course, we can't compare them to those, but we're gonna see how they compare. And being that time of year, we're gonna dive into the pumpkin beers.
So everybody's got to not only listen to this episode, but listen to our next episode, because the pumpkin, I mean, it's getting to that time of year
where that time of year.
By the time it should be Halloween just around the corner, so it's going to be pumpkin time.
It's getting close, yeah. So, like Jim said, ladies and gentlemen, prost.
Prost.
Make sure that you try some Oktoberfest beers. And like we always say, we hope that your campfire is always warm and your beer is always cold.
See ya.
Bye. Thank you for listening to the Northwoods Beer Guy podcast. If you have a question, a comment, or a beer you'd like us to review, please feel free to send us a message at northwoodsbeerguy@gmail.com. You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. If you're on Untappd, look up Northwoods Beer Guy and send a friend request. Until next week, I hope all your campfires are warm and all your beer is cold.